Yep, Alligator Rock. Looks like a friendly guy to me. I expect it to be pretty tough fishing today, but who knows? Ooh, it's kind of one of those foggy kind of nights. Can hardly see, but the Selvin's all ready to go. The Jeep is warming up. All right. Gone fishing. All right, had a little problem first thing this morning starting out. I actually filmed myself leaving the driveway, and I noticed when I was walking back to the Jeep Liberty that this light bulb was out. We're back on schedule, gonna put the lens back on. Well, I was just saying to myself, it ain't supposed to rain today, is it? We'll see what happens. Hey, we're gone fishing, no matter what happens. As we watch these big semis go by. Oh, look there. It's a daggone critter getter. Bad boy Dooley chasing the critter getter. Coming off Highway 37 here. If I continued south, I'd go to Tell City. Here we are. Oh yeah, one of my favorite turns to make. Oh, where's the deer? Oh, two of them, white-tailed deer. Nice. There's a little squirrel. Get out of the way, bud. Here at Celina Lake, here's the boat dock. And they still have both of them out of the water. Good to be back in the forest. Oh, didn't like that. Now, it won't be this calm for long because the winds are going to pick up big time. Yeah, I did a video in fall when I brought the Selvin here and the water was so low I couldn't even launch it. But what I was talking about then is like on this bank right over here, I could actually see rocks and stuff, like rock ledges exposed that I've never even seen before. And now when I look over there, see, they're all gone. They're all covered up underwater, but I know they're there. So that might be a good place to throw today. Hello, bass. I'm here to hunt you down today. Some more fishermen coming in. Got my new Frog Tog hip waders. Never have used them yet. Bought them for last fall, and then the water got so low I couldn't even get out on the lake. So these ought to work out pretty good. You know, there's a lot to be said about these national forest lakes like this that are trolling motor only, electric motors only, because it remains just as quiet when you pull up as when you leave. There's another bass boat pull up, you know, and he put his boat on the water, and it's still just as quiet as can be. Okay, that was a very successful launch of the Selvin. Plenty of water, no problem at all. You can see the Selvin sitting right there, ready to go. So happy to be out on the water. All right, let's see if we can't catch us some bass out there. Hey, the hip waders worked just like they were supposed to, just perfect in the water. Glad I ended up picking those up. Okay, you can already see there's a lot of things that are pretty nice with the water higher like this. One is I can launch with my trolling motor, ready to go. Before I was using that great big kayak paddle, that wooden kayak paddle. I had to paddle out past the weeds. Whew. Well, I tell you, it's going to get a little warm today, I think. It's pretty nice. Supposed to almost be 70-something degrees. Now, got to be careful. Water is super cold. I don't even think it's 50 degrees yet. Okay, I'm sneaking in here back to my favorite cove on the lake. I think it's pretty important that you just go as slow as you can, as quiet as you can. Of course, the fish know everything, so they hear the trolling motor, but my strategy that I do is I'll come in here to a cove like this, and then I'll just kind of get all my stuff ready and just not start fishing right away. Kind of just settle in, let the fish get used to the boat being there, and at that point right there, then I start throwing a line in. So we'll see if it works here or not. I'm almost there. Boy, the birds and everything are just so alive. It's funny. In the summertime, they kind of die off a little bit as far as singing and stuff. But man, right now, whew, they are alive and well. I just recently purchased a Lew's spinning reel and a Lew's rod site. Randy Blockett's fishing site, Intuitive Angling. He's got a link in there to Tackle Warehouse. Tell you what, I was so impressed with them. Looked it up, they got a giant variety. I happened to pick up this reel and this rod for 25% off, which is pretty cool. And actually in the box there's a $25 coupon in there that I can spend now if I want to go back and find something else. It also helps Randy Blockett's YouTube channel, Intuitive Angling YouTube channel. So I'm happy to support him because this man has taught me so much about bass hunting. Totally different fishing than what I've ever known. This is like trying to zero in on these big bass that are right below me right now. Film Fest, LAF Space Film Fest. It's not a fishing show, even though I do quite a bit of fishing. But you know what? I got to thinking, the biggest difference is if you look at most of your fishing shows, they usually show maybe the boat being launched and then just nothing but fishing. Catching a fish, catching a fish, catching a fish, which is really cool. I watch those videos too. What I do is I'm out here fishing, and yeah, I might catch one or two fish, but I also kind of tell the story of what it's like to be out here. So if you notice that in my films, you'll see a cinematography, a lot of photography, and a lot of just showing off the beauty of, like right here, southern Indiana, Hoosier National Forest. Kind of like a storyteller, I guess. Plus, I think we have some pretty good conversations together. I like the comments that I get, You know, it's just, you learn a lot, and I hope every once in a while I might teach you guys something too. It's awesome. Okay, back to fishing, right? Enough, Mr. Lawrence. Cut it down. Okay, I'm still getting everything ready. Hey, I can show you this. I was having trouble with my net, and in fact, the last fishing video I put out, I actually caught a fish and went to get my net, and it got caught on a rod holder I had right here, and I kind of struggled with it for a minute to do it. And it's always been kind of a problem. Well, this is what I came up with a few weeks ago. I have a pedestal in the shop that I don't use, and I thought, you know what, if I mount that pedestal over in the corner, stick my net in it right there, that might work out pretty good. And sure enough, it sits there and it holds up just right. So I'm going to see if maybe that'll work. I'm not sure, but right now it looks like it's a pretty good situation. Easy to grab anytime I need it. Here's my new setup right here. Start out with, it's a spinning reel. It's a Lew's Custom Light spinning reel right here. Super lightweight. It's got 11 ball bearings in it. Just feels like it's going to be so smooth. And then I mated that with a TP1 black speed stick, and this is a Lew's speed stick right here. I went ahead and got a 7-footer. As far as my personal life goes, I've never bought anything like this before. I mean, I've always used Zebco $35 reels and rod combos and stuff like that. I did last summer get a Abu Garcia bait caster. That's pretty nice. I really like that. I'll be using that today. But you know, I really wanted a good spinning reel. This thing is so light. It's just incredible. I'm just blown away by it. You know, a lot of hard work to get this, and once again, I'm not a fishing show, but you know what? It seems to be getting kind of popular, my fishing videos. Why not give it a shot and make a little investment and see what happens? Maybe I'm going to start catching some big bass. We'll see. Selvin ready to go before I put it in the water. The guy pulled up and got a nice bass boat, nice truck, pulls up, puts his boat in the water. And even since I've been out on the water here now, it's probably been 45 minutes, I haven't thrown a line in. Man, he's intense. He is like fishing like crazy. And I think that's how a lot of fishermen are, man. They get out here and they just want to go for it. So actually having a YouTube channel like this with all the camera gear and messing with it, and I've got to take the time to tell the story, or once again, it's just about fishing, and there's no storyline in there at all. I hope you like the story. Leave the comments. Maybe I should just keep the camera off until I catch a fish. I don't want to do that though. That's not any fun. Because if I don't catch a fish, I'm still going to have a good video. I'm still going to come out with some good video scenes and tell the story out here. So anyways, cheers. I know I'm getting it rigged up right now. Sure, 15 mile an hour on this lake. That's almost, it's starting to white cap a little bit. But you know, if I stay in these little coves and stuff like that, I'll be fine. Plus, like Randy Blockett has taught me, that wind is your friend. When you're a fisherman and you're out here fishing and it's windy, man, it's like that's like wearing camouflage when you're hunting. Very, very important not to let wind ruin your day, and just realize that's what it takes. For those fish down there looking back up at you, they kind of disguise your boat, they disguise your, you know, you standing over there and throwing a lure out and stuff like that. Randy Blockett, Intuitive Angling, I highly recommend it. If you want to learn about bass hunting, go to Randy Blockett YouTube channel. The water is so super cold, is to try to take as many precautions as I can. And here's one thing I did. I mounted a ladder on the 1980 Selvin when I first got it last year. Because I watched a video and a guy actually fell out of a boat, and they were talking about, you got to have a way to get back in your boat, especially if you're by yourself. I went ahead and mounted this ladder. Now what I've done right now is I went ahead and put it over the side, but I put a bungee cord around it to keep it from going all the way down into the water, so it's there. So I'm thinking in a case of an emergency, if I fell in, I could swim around there, pull that bungee cord off, and let that ladder come down and get back in. So here's the ladder that I have, and this is a pretty nice ladder because when you flip it over, it then accordions down into the water, and it's a 4-step ladder. Pretty nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this bungee cord on it right here. So when I take it over the side and lean it down like that, okay, 1/8 bullet weight. And that's what I'm going to start out with. Use just a straight shanked hook, just like this right here. Instead of the ones, you see the ones all the time that have the bent. They're bent at the very top right there. This is just going to be a straight shaft hook. I wish this was a little bit longer right here. From Tackle Warehouse, I'm actually going to order some with a little bit longer of a shank right here. But these are going to work for today. Let's see if this is going to work. I'd forgotten how to tie a uni knot. I was tying them last year, and it made me nervous because I never tied them before, but I kind of got used to it. But now I went through the winter and I got out here, here it is March, I got back out on the water and I went to tie it, and I'm not exactly sure about one step, so I'm not going to tie it. So I went back to my old school way of I've always tied fishing lures. But what I'm going to do is, and I learned this from Roland Martin. Roland Martin's got a nice fishing channel. On your knots, especially like if you're in a tournament and stuff, take a little bit of super glue. All right, this is actually crazy glue. And just put just a tiny, tiny drop on there. It doesn't take much. There we go. And just kind of let that set up. There's no way that knot is going to come loose. For you, just in case you've never heard that before, like Roland says on there, he comes down to fishing. He said, if you lose a big fish, guess what? You just ruined your day. Especially if you lost it because your line came untied. There's a tip that he showed me. I just now passed it on to you. All right, I got this all rigged up, ready to go. You can see I've got a bullet weight on it that's free flowing. The creature that I'm using is a Super Crawl Green Pumpkin from Zoom. And he was saying that that's a good point. Wow, what is this? Whoa, I see a big thing of shad coming this way. Check this out. See him on the water there? Now there's a big thing because that's bait fish. That's shad. So if you see that and you happen to be in a location you can cast through it, that's where a lot of the big fish, and look, they're coming this way. Oh man, I gotta get busy. I thought I'd go ahead and get this on film. This is gonna be my first cast with my brand new Lose Reel and Lose Rod. First cast. Didn't produce anything on the first cast. I put Cigar 15-pound Invis on here. But when I did it, when I reeled it yesterday, I put the line on there. Somehow I think I got it all twisted up because the line just seemed to be real twisted. And I noticed even when I threw it right there, it sounds loud. Unless the new rods like this are loud like that, it sounds so loud when I cast it. So I may have to redo that and put maybe some 12-pound line on it, something like that. And I didn't have the drag set right or something, and the reel was spinning, and yet the drag wasn't pulling, and it was just like spinning it around or something. It definitely twisted the line. Here's another little tip I can pass on to you. These soft baits impregnated with salt take it and take something like a knife or your fingernail or something and just rough them up. Because what happens is when you do that, you start bringing out all that salt. It kind of roughens the texture up, kind of makes it look more natural too. So just kind of take it and rough it up and see if that don't do you some good. Yeah, here comes the wind. Look how much that has changed just in 30 minutes. And here's a telltale sign. Look at those clouds moving up there. That's pretty incredible how fast they're going. So it's a lot windier up high, but it's coming. It'll be here soon. And I can tell you what, I thought about this. Even though it's supposed to be 78 today, and it might get that way this afternoon, right now the wind is starting to pick up. Hey, it's a little bit chilly out here. Of course, it is only March 4th. Well, I hope we have a warm spring. 5 springs in a row, it seems like in southern Indiana, it has been nothing but cold. We've actually kept our wood-burning furnace going into May because it's just been so dang cold. Yeah, one big advantage for sure, coming out and getting on a lake like this early, is the lake's not very big. So you can kind of get out here and secure your spot, especially on a day like today, because when it's going to be so windy, the whole lake's really not that accessible, especially when you're just talking about trolling motor only. Boats get blown around, and I noticed probably about 3 kayaks have already come out. Now, see, they're going to really struggle today, so they're going to want to get into a cove like this. So definitely an advantage to get out there early and get your spot picked out. And I'm going to drink me a super coffee. At least open it. I don't know if I'll drink the whole thing. Yum, yum. Yeah, you can see starting to fight some wind out here today. Supposed to pick up about 15, maybe 18. There's a father and son went camping. Took their canoe up Celina Lake, went up in the forest and camped, and now they're drifting back. Pretty cool. Probably more boaters out today than I've seen on Celina Lake. Selfish. I don't want to fish at bay all day. It's kind of interesting, the strategy when you fish a smaller lake like this, because there's a dozen boats out here, and everybody tries to be as respectful as possible. So if you got somebody coming out of a cove going up ashore, you don't want to just try to pass them and cut right in front of them. Everybody seems to be pretty nice out here. Now what I've done is I have now trowed all the way to the dam on Celina Lake. It's about as far away as you can get from the dock. And now I'm all by myself up in this area right here. So it's pretty nice. Back there it started getting a little crowded. And the bay I was at is probably the number one bay to be at with high winds. So I noticed the kayakers and stuff were kind of around the area, and I could kind of tell that they would probably like to come on in there and kind of get out of this wind. So I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to fish that bay all day. I want to get out and let them have a chance at it. Now I'm going to come up here to a point and see if I can't do any good here. This is the swimming hole where everybody swims and stuff right up here. So I'm going to go up here and see if I can't do some good. Randy Blockett was talking about being out here on the point is a good place to find fish in early spring. Okay, a little fishing update for you. It's mid-morning, and you know, I think I've had one strike, maybe at the most. So the water's still cold. It's not even 50 degrees yet. So what I'm thinking is that, you know, it's going to be a little bit tough here for a while. The water's super high. I think I got a lot of weeds. Indian Lake has got a lot of weeds. Celina Lake has got a lot of weeds. So I either got a big group of weeds. Yep, sure enough. Oh, even the weeds jump off. Yeah, big group of weeds. So, and seeing if I can do any good out here on this point. So anyways, that's an update. Probably have lunch here in about an hour or so. Maybe we'll catch one, maybe we won't. Hey, I'm glad you still came along. Look at this. Look at this. For March, the 1st of March, well, March 4th, but yeah, pretty nice. Kind of my strategy here is going to be to just, I'm out here on this point. I'm anchored out on the point. You can see the land kind of coming behind me here. The wind kind of twirls around, kind of spins the boat around. I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to throw probably about 4 or 5 different things. You know, a green pumpkin creature. This one here is a blue sapphire creature. I've had good luck with those. A chartreuse and black spinner I'm going to use out here. And I may go ahead and try a jerkbait. I really have never done any good on a jerkbait, but Randy's saying that, man, that's the thing to use in early spring, late winter, early spring. So I've got a real nice Repella that I've had forever that I may go ahead and try to put on there and give it a shot. You know, this is a Repella, it's an X-Wrap Prop 2. Nice looking jerkbait. We'll see if it does any good. That Two Lakes Trail runs all the way around Celina Lake and goes all the way over. And in fact, the backpacker, I just got a little clip of him going across the dam with his dog. See, he's heading to Indian Lake. And it goes all the way around. It's about 16 miles total. But what's funny is, like right up here on this bluff is an excellent campsite. And there's a couple more along the water down through here. I'm sitting here, and I guarantee you, without a doubt, somebody is cooking pancakes and bacon. It does smell good. Okay, just a little fact for you, and I think this is a fact. This is a Mr. Lawrence fact, I guess. But Zoom, and Yum. Now, one difference is in their packaging is Zoom, I'm pretty sure Zoom, you can open them up in the store and actually take the bait out and look at it and see if it's exactly what you're looking for. I noticed Yum won't let you do that. Yum has got a factory seal on it that you have to peel and open it up. I would imagine that people at Academy and Dick's Sporting Goods would probably get kind of upset if I start opening up their packages just to check out their lure. I got this little, I think this is called a Pond Magic by Booyah. And what I'm doing is I'm going to go ahead and put a trailer on it. I threw it this morning. I didn't get any bites, but I'm thinking, you know, this might be something good to put a little trailer on and see if maybe that will attract something. I don't know for sure. But we're going to give it a shot. Now you got like a little swimming action going behind the skirt. All right, it is about lunchtime. I had one bass on. It wasn't a very big bass. I'm thinking about 1.5 pounds maybe. Got it on, got it pretty close to the boat, spit it out. So if you do a lot of bass fishing, you'll notice that those guys are excellent escape artists. They just, the way that they can move their mouth and do that switch and flip, and they're pretty good at trying to get off. This was my first nice reel that I bought last year. This is my Abu Garcia. Maybe I can't look better. Abu Garcia bait caster. I've never really fished jerk baits at all. But man, I hear that they're the thing to use in the spring. So I'm going to try this guy out and see if I can't do some good. If I don't, I'll cast it probably 2 dozen times. If I don't do any good, I'm going to have some lunch. It's a daggone turtle convention. Son of a gun. Bet they're thinking, should we adjourn the meeting now or not, boys? Wanted to make just a couple comments on, number one, how expensive lures have gotten. Holy cow. You know, there's a company, Megabass, and they do make some beautiful, beautiful lures. I'm not saying that they're not worth it, but you know, I cannot bring myself to pay $24.99 for a lure, because I just have the kind of luck where if I do, I guarantee I'm going to throw it out there and something's going to happen to it. I'm going to lose it. Now, you know, a lot of your fishing shows, of course, they use all of them, but you got to remember, a lot of the pros get those for free, so they're going to promote them and they're going to put them out there. You know, maybe not, but it's just, they're just so expensive. Okay, so that was a nice little wind gust just went by. Anyways, it's calmed down, so I'll go ahead and say what's on my mind. If you follow fishing at all right now, you know there is a big controversial subject going on. It's called live scope, and it has taken over pro bass fishing. It's almost 99%, maybe even 100% now, of all your wins on the pro bass circuit is all done with live scoping. Very simple terms, live scoping is basically you're sitting there in front of these large, you can even call them small television sets or large monitors, whatever you want to call it, and you're actually looking at real time down at a camera, looking at the fish, taking a fishing rod, throwing it over the side, letting it dangle down, and just bobbing it up and down till you get it right over the fish, and then the fish bite it and they jerk them and pull them up. There's so many things to me that I'm learning about it that just seem wrong. It just seems like, you know, number one, even watching the fishing shows anymore are just boring as heck. You sit there and you see these pros and all they're doing is staring at these computer screens. It's like somebody playing a video game and you're standing there watching them play the video game. But the video game's not near as exciting, you know, as that you see some of the video games out these days. No, not even. You know, the real danger in this, the pro tournament, bass fishing tournaments, you know, are all now just boring as heck because that's what everybody has. But the problem is that because you can catch so many fish with it, I agree with Randy Blockett, the bass population is dwindling so fast. It's just incredible. You know, these guys, I saw a video, and in fact, I got halfway through the video and I just turned it off. These guys are spending $50,000 on electronics. They've already have a $100,000 boat. $50,000 on electronics to sit there, bobble it up and down, and drag fish out of the lake. Fish that they can see, which a lot of people compare this to spotlighting deer. Anybody that hunts knows you don't spotlight deer, period. You know, and if you do, you're a poacher. Because the problem is when you sit there and you go out at night and you spotlight a deer, it looks at you and it just stares right at you. You can shoot them all night long if you wanted to. And that's why it's illegal to spotlight deer. And there's a big push in this country to make it illegal to do these live scope, especially with tournaments and stuff. But, you know, I don't know. I've just learned that these, you know, I guess up to this point, I always thought, oh, there's an indefinite number of fish, right? There are billions and billions of fish down there. It's just a matter of catching them. Now I'm learning, no, there's not. There's only so many of these, especially if you're hunting these big bass, there's only so many of them down here. And like in this lake that I'm fishing now. And this is a pretty small lake. I think I'm going to contact the Tell City District. I'm going to contact national parks, the National Forest Service, and I'm just going to let them know as a comment and as a suggestion, they need to ban live scope on these little lakes like this. You get some boats out here, there are some big boats that come out here. All the electronics and stuff, if you get live scope started out here and you get 2 or 3 boats, they'll clean this lake out. I mean, they can literally in a day just start piling fish out of here. Now, there's a limit, but they can come back every day and hit that limit. What do you think about that? Live scope. I don't know. You know, of course, the people that are on Randy Blockett and they're all over him and getting on him about it, they call him, you know, he's just an old fool and he's a ghost from the past. Get away, get out of the place of development, or get out of the way or the train's going to run you over and all this. I don't know. There's certain times when you take a stand. There's certain times you take a stand, and if this live scope is cleaning out the big bass and destroying a population where it's never going to be recovered, I don't like it. You know, I'm kind of one of those guys that that if I'm saying this, I mean it. Because like even right now, all day long, I have electronics on my boat. I have a couple hummingbirds. Ooh, they're not much, but I've got a couple of them. I don't turn them on. I don't even use them. I don't care. I'm out here in a primal way, just figuring out where these fish are and trying to catch them. Obviously, I haven't figured it out today because I've hooked one and I didn't get it in a boat. But besides the point, and I also agree with Randy when it comes to fishing. If you knew every time you were going to go out, all you did was sit in your boat, look at a screen, bob your rod up and down, and you'd catch fish, junk them in the boat there, within a couple hours you got your limit and go home. Is that fun? Is that I guess if you love fish and you love to clean them and you love to eat them, and hopefully you're not taking them out of here and selling them, everybody to each his own. But to me, the whole thing about coming out here is you have no idea if you're going to catch anything or not. And you have to really study the lake and try to come up with a plan to catch the fish. Okay, fishing report. It is mid-afternoon. I have not got a fish in the boat. And in fact, since I've been coming here to Celina Lake since last spring, this is probably the worst day. At least for a while there, what I was doing is catching them. For some reason, I didn't have them rigged up right, using the wrong equipment. I'd catch them and then they would slip the hook. Today, I'm not even getting that bite. I don't even have the chance. Only one. I got one on and it got off. That doesn't surprise me, but it's like, man. Of course, it is March 1st. It's been winter. Less than 2 weeks ago, it was down in the teens. So, the fish may just still be not wanting to come up. I figured with this warm weather and the sunshine and stuff, maybe they'd start moving a little bit. But it might just be too early still. But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to probably fish. Well, it's only about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, probably till it starts getting dark. So I might fish another hour, see what happens, and then probably give it up. I'm back to the cove that I started with this morning. Might try this little lizard. About time for the meeting to get adjourned. Well, the trees lay bare, but not for much longer, for spring is on its way. worked good. Right there, it's kind of still in the way, but you know what? It'd be easy to get to if I would have caught the fish. That was a pretty good day of fishing. Didn't get any fish in the boat, and really I just hooked one that I could tell. Might have got a few more bites, but it's the 1st of March, March 4th. You know, I've never really tried to fish this time of year. I've always thought the water would be too cold. The fish would just not be active. It kind of seemed like it today. Videos, he's saying, hey, get on out there in March that the fish start to become active. So I guess it just all depends. The water's still awful cold. I'll have to check it to make sure exactly what it is, but I thought it was about 48, 49, maybe 50 right now. Well, I'm glad you came along. You know, it's just one of those deals. You're not always guaranteed to catch fish, but you're guaranteed to have fun if you go out. Hey, I appreciate you coming to the channel. That's LAF Space Film Fest, capital LAF Space Film Fest. Hey, if you would, hammer down that subscribe button. I appreciate it. This summer, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to continue to work on my bass hunting skills. I'm going to show you guys and gals as much as I know, as much as I've learned. I can pass it on to you. You probably know everything already, but maybe there might be one or two little things that I'm learning that you're going to find interesting. I'm going to load the Selvin all up. I'm going to head back home. Got commitments tomorrow, but it won't be long before I'll be pulling the Selvin out, camping, going back out, pulling the Selvin out, camping, and doing that for 2 or 3 days in a row because that makes it really nice. Comes the process. Now I got to break everything down, load it all up into Liberty, and head on back. What I ended up with today, a black and blue spinner with a little trailer on it, little chartreuse trailer on it. The green pumpkin is the one that I caught the bass. Actually hooked the bass today, but it got off right before I got to the boat. Tried the lizard today. I'm thinking I'd like to have a green pumpkin lizard. This one here is like a Carolina. I thought it was like a green pumpkin, but it's more brown than green. You know, I've got lizards around my cabin that are black and blue. So if they're that color at my cabin, they should be that color here too. So maybe I'm going to try to get me some black and blue lizards. That might be a good idea. I think I saw this one at Walmart the other day, and I thought, you know, that's a green pumpkin, good looking color right there. Didn't get any bites on it, but you never know. There's a Selvin. Thank you, Selvin. I hope you appreciated that. That's only one of many times this year. Now, the report on the frog togs, oh man, I tell you what. If this time of year, if you put in where you've got to put it in by yourself, and if you've got to get into the water for any reason, like I do with the Selvin, it's big enough that I'm not comfortable with how guys will back them up and let the rope take it on out and then have it tied to their tailgate and then bring it back in. You know, I always back it in, get out, unhook it, and then do it manually. They worked perfect, especially bringing it back on. The mid-thighs in them, and they were waterproof. They fit well. They've got the straps that go around my belt so they stay up. They were perfect. So frog togs, they make a good hip waiter. They weren't that expensive. I'd highly recommend them this time of year. You know, you're going to need them now for another 2 months until the water warms up, and then in the fall you'll need them again. I've had a couple people ask me, Mr. Lawrence, how come it takes you so long once you come off the water to actually hit the road? And I always say it takes me at least an hour to an hour and a half before I actually get out on the interstate. And that is exactly why. The key word there is interstate. When I'm at Celina Lake or Indian Lake and I come off the water, as soon as I leave the parking lot here, within less than 10 minutes, I'm going 65 miles an hour down a busy interstate 64 with a lot of truck traffic, a lot of car traffic, and there's no room for error whatsoever. So I take my time, I go through, I've got a checklist in my head, but I just go over it again and again and again just to make sure I have everything ready to go when I hit that interstate. It's the straps that go from the hull straight down. There's one on the other side right here. So those need to be put on and made sure that they're secure. Then both motors have transom savers. This one right here goes on the Tohatsu, and then you can see the one that goes on the Big Daddy Chrysler. And I always take two straps like this. Now this was what the previous owner showed me, and I think that he knew exactly what he was doing. There's a couple straps on each side, and that is to hold the Big Daddy Chrysler straight, because if not, I could be driving down the road, the Big Daddy Chrysler goes one way or the other. Now it's not going to fall off, but it's still going to go back and forth, so that way there it holds it. Now I still have to unload the Selvin and get it all closed up. You have a safety hook that goes on, and then also the previous owner had this strap here, and it's like a safety strap. I always unhook the lights. I don't know if you need to unhook the lights when you back into the water or not. I need to research that and see. But I always unhook the lights, so I'm going to go ahead and I looked down as I'm filming here and I saw they were unhooked, so I'm going to go ahead and hook the lights back up. I really like is when I camp, because see, I don't have to do all this. I can basically just put a few straps on the Selvin, get it to the campsite, and then I can leave everything on board, and the next day I get up in the morning. All I got to do is eat breakfast, and a lot of times I'll eat breakfast out on the water, and I just get right on out there and keep on fishing. Like all packed up and ready to go. Sunshade down, seats all tied down. You know, I'll still walk through here a couple more times to make sure. You know, I always tie my tackle boxes down against the seat. Ready to go. So now I feel pretty confident about hitting the highway. Here come some of the last fishermen out, getting ready to load their boat up and head back to their house. That's what it's all about, having fun. First fishing day of 2024 is in the books. Well, I'd say the first fishing day in the Selvin. I actually went a couple days ago and walked along Indian shoreline and fish the shore. Should have that video out shortly. Next time, we're going to catch mini bass. And that's M-A-N-Y, not M-I-N-I. Really appreciate you coming by. And I'll be talking to you on the next video. Yeah, I love Southern Indiana, the beauty of it all. My brother left here 20 years ago. I can always travel around, see this great country of ours. But Southern Indiana is where I'll always call home.